Hey kings and queens, Shay here again, back with another encouraging word. And this week's encouraging word is no weapon. And I'll be coming from Isaiah 54:17, and I'm going to read it from the International Version. And it reads, "No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and this is their vindication from me, declares the Lord." And this is encouraging because he doesn't tell us that the weapons won't be formed against us. He doesn't tell us that, the enemy won't try things to attack our minds, our faith, our bodies, or any of that. But that we can have victory in knowing that they will not win. We already have the victory. And we have the victory in Jesus. When he went to the cross, he gave us the victory over all these things. And so that's the encouraging word today. And I also want to let you know that the enemy, he doesn't do anything new to attack us because he's not a creator. He can't create anything. So he uses old tactics. So you have to know the old tactics of the enemy. And the Bible tells us that too. And so you have to stay vigilant about the things that he uses against you. For instance, this is just an example. If you were once an alcoholic, he's going to try and use alcohol against you. If you were once if you were once addicted to drugs, he'll try to use drugs against you. So, or whatever your vice is, that's the vice he'll try to use against you. And then also he'll try to play with your mind. When you know the promises of God and when you know how God sees you, he'll try to have you believe that you don't fit that or you're not worthy of that. How many times and how often do we tell ourselves, I don't deserve this, I'm not worthy of this, I'm not good enough for this. Even though God has already told you, this is what I have for you, this is the promise I have for you, this is what I want you to go do in my name's sake. And like I said before in a previous video, if God has called you to do it, that means he's qualified you to do it. And it may be your very struggle on why God called you to do that thing. Because you'll have compassion for people, you'll have empathy and sympathy for people in that very area. And so that's how God can use your past to qualify you for what he wants you to do in the future. So don't let the tactics of the enemy even try to confuse your mind about who God has called you to be or what God has said about you. Because again, God knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb, and he could see down in time how he could use you in your story to serve him, to glorify him. And so again, the encouraging word is no matter what the enemy tries to throw at you, you win, because no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And the Bible even continues on to say, even every tongue that rises up against you. And sometimes that tongue is our own. Like I just said, when we speak negative about ourselves, that tongue is our own. So we have to tear down even that tongue, our tongue and anybody else's tongue that does not speak life into our life or our situations. Then, but even that has no victory, because no weapon formed against us shall prosper. And I'm going to just give a real quick story of mine on how the enemy has tried to attack me on different occasions and different things, but it didn't work. So the first one would be Mother's Day weekend 2018, and I drove from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, all the way to Lawton, Oklahoma, which was an 11-hour drive for me. And I drove the whole way. I stopped, I think, twice or whatever. And every time I would stop on my brakes, I would hear a squeaking noise, just squeaking noise. And so as soon as I pulled into Lawton, Oklahoma, I went to the car dealership to get my car looked at, my truck looked at. And they looked at it, and and I told him what the sound was and all that. And the man said as soon as he put it on the little thing to lift it, to take my tires off, to check my brakes, he said my brakes had fallen off. They were no longer on my truck. But God kept me the whole 11 hours, no problem, no issue, other than I could hear the noise. So he was alerting me that something was wrong and I needed to get checked out. But he kept me the whole way. I didn't have accident. I stopped every time I was supposed to stop, like all of that. And so that just increased my faith on how good God is and how he kept me. And then the other time is last year, 2021, May 2021. I was in Houston looking for a house. And the last day there, I'm leaving, and a man runs a red light going 80 something miles an hour. He was in a Camry, I was in my truck, and he hit me so hard that I flipped in my truck. And we both walked away without a scratch, a bruise, a scar, anything, nothing. And I wasn't sore in 2 days, or because everybody was like, well, you'll be sore when the adrenaline wears off. I wasn't sore or anything, because again, God kept me. And even in that accident, after it happened, the man was checking on me and I was checking on him. We walked away from this scene hugging each other. So that's nothing but the love of God. And so I just, again, encourage you to just keep in mind that no weapon formed against you, I don't care what the enemy tries to do, shall prosper, because you already have the victory in the name of Jesus. I hope this encourages you like it has encouraged me. I love you, and I'll see you next time.